Good morning, class 10. In the previous video, we studied about the various characteristics of the soil and the properties of alluvial soil. We'll carry forward the chapter and we'll start with black soil, which is also known as Regu soil or the Regular soil. It is a specific name given to it in Telugu word. It is also called as the black cotton soil because it is very good for the crop of cotton. Cotton grows very well in this soil and therefore it is also called as the black cotton soil. Now, as you can see, the word Regur and Regula is given in your book and it is a Telugu word. Now, this is not a transported soil. If you remember, we studied about the alluvial soil, which we called as the riverine soil or the transported soil because it was brought down by the rivers. But this soil is called as a residual soil. Now, we call this as a residual soil for the simple reason that this soil is found at the same place where it has been formed. So, therefore, it is a residual soil. If you can see, there is another word for residual soil in your books on page 41, which is called as in situ. In situ means wherever that rock is found, the soil is also formed at the same place. So these soils which are formed locally or in the same place where it is found are called in situ residual soils, and the next three soils, black, red and laterite, belong to this category only. So therefore, we start with the characteristic of the black soil. If you pay attention here on this page, black soil can retain moisture. It is rich in lime, iron, magnesium, calcium, alumina and potash. Now, very difficult to learn these terms like that, but we have a simpler way of learning it. We call it as LIMCAP. So L stands for lime, I stands for iron, M stands for magnesium, C stands for calcium, A stands for alumina and P stands for potash. So we learn it like this, that it is rich in LIMCAP. So when you remember LIMCAP, you will be able to write down the minerals which are found in this soil. Now it is deficient. It does not have phosphorus, nitrogen and humus. That means these three minerals are not present in the soil. This soil is known for its self-plowing capacity. Now, what do I mean by self-plowing capacity is, like you must have seen your mother or maybe your father or you yourself, if you're very fond of gardening, or the gardener who comes to your home, after every few days, they till the soil. That means they upturn the soil. They use a khurpi और उसको खोदते हैं. Now, this is called as your self-plowing because that is plowing because you need the air to circulate in the flower pot or on your flower bed. But this soil has a self-plowing capacity. You don't need to upturn the soil or till the soil very often. Actually, what happens is when you water this soil, it becomes sticky when it is wet, and when it dries, it gets those cracks in the soil, and these cracks help in self-aeration. That means the air circulation happens on its own, and that is why we call it as the self-plowing capacity. Now, the places where this kind of soil is found is Deccan Plateau and parts of Tamil Nadu. Now, again, I'm reiterating my point. In the alluvial soil, we had said that region and states are two different things. So, when they say region, you cannot write states, and when they write states or when they ask for states, you cannot write region. So, for region category, we can put Deccan Plateau and parts of Tamil Nadu, and in states, we write Maharashtra, Gujarat and Andhra Pradesh. So, make sure that you learn the regions separately and the states separately. The crops which can be grown in this soil are cotton, sugarcane, oilseeds and wheat. Remember, you have to write the crops in the same order. Now, why do I write cotton first? Because we studied in the previous paragraph that cotton is black soil is the best for cotton because cotton thrives in this soil. So cotton, then sugarcane, then oilseeds and then wheat. So cotton and sugarcane should be mentioned in the same order. Oilseeds and wheat can change its order if you want to or if you forget. And one last point, but very important, how does this soil get formed? The formation of this soil is by the weathering of lava rocks. I hope you remember what lava rocks means. Lava rocks means by the weathering of igneous rocks. If you remember your class 9 clearly, lava rocks or igneous rocks are the same. So it gets formed by the weathering of the igneous rock. The next soil which we are going to study is the red soil. As the name suggests, red soil means red in color. Now, this is red in color because it contains very high quantity of iron oxide. It is not a very fertile soil, but if you provide it with the fertilizers, manures and irrigation on a timely basis, then this soil can also give you fruitful results. Cultivation can be done. Now, this soil is suitable for dry farming. Now, when I say dry farming, I mean to say that since this soil cannot retain moisture, it can be used only for those crops which do not require water on a regular basis. The same thing is given here. Please make sure that you underline this. Red soils are infertile, but on application of fertilizers and irrigation, they can give excellent yield. Dry farming is suitable in red soil region. Why? It is a method which is adopted in certain regions of inadequate rainfall and the region devoid of irrigation facilities by conserving moisture in the soil and by raising drought-enduring crops. So, this soil is suitable for dry farming. Now, the characteristic of this soil, red in color because of presence of iron oxide. It is formed by the weathering of crystalline, metamorphic and igneous rock. The entire statement has to be mentioned if they ask you how the red soil get formed. If you just write metamorphic rocks or just igneous rocks, it will be taken as wrong. Weathering of crystalline, metamorphic and igneous rock is how this soil gets formed. It is friable and porous. Friable means very light. It is rich in potash and iron but deficient in nitrogen and humus. Now if you see, we have studied alluvial soil, we studied black soil. In all the three soils, it says it is deficient in nitrogen and humus. Now, all soils are deficient in nitrogen and humus, and that is why we have to add fertilizers. The science students already know that fertilizers are ammonium compounds, and ammonia is made up of combination of nitrogen and hydrogen. So since nitrogen is very much required by the plants and none of the soils present in India carry nitrogen, therefore a little amount of fertilizer is required by each soil so that the plants can grow properly. So this much you don't need to learn separately. All soils are deficient in nitrogen and humus. Now the regions which these soils are found is Malwa Plateau and Chota Nagpur Plateau. Again, I'm talking about region. And if we talk about states, it's Karnataka, Odisha and Madhya Pradesh. And the crops which can be found here or grown easily is pulses, sugarcane, wheat or rice. It all depends upon how much or which kind of fertilizers you're adding and how much irrigation are you capable of giving to the crop. For example, if rice you're growing, rice needs a lot of water. So if you're capable of giving it a lot of water on a timely basis, then even red soil can give you rice very effectively. The last soil which we have to do here is the laterite soil. Now, laterite soil is the most infertile soil found in India. I'm talking again, infertile soil. Earlier, this soil, since it did not have any good qualities regarding the cultivation or crops, therefore we used to use it for making of bricks. Now it is made from a word later, which is a Latin word. It actually meant brick, and therefore this soil was actually used for making bricks. But now since technology has advanced, we know a lot of different type of fertilizers. So if we add fertilizers and irrigation, give it irrigation, cultivation is very much possible in this soil also. Now, for this soil, it is formed by the weathering under the conditions of high temperature and heavy rainfall with alternate wet and dry period, a very important point here, and it is an example of leached soil. Now, when I say it is a leached soil, that means when the heavy rain occurs, this heavy rain quickly goes inside and takes the nutrients along with it and deposits it in the lower layers, making the topsoil infertile without any nutrients. And this topsoil devoid of any nutrients is called as laterite soil. And that is why I said in the beginning that this soil is the most infertile soil found in India, for the simple reason that whatever little nutrients it does have, the water dissolves it and deposits it or takes it down to the lower layers of the soil, making the topsoil completely infertile. So this process is called as leaching, and the soil is called as leached soil. Again, the soil is red in color as the red soil itself, and here also the content of iron oxide is more, and that is why it has red in color, but it is red in color. But as compared to red soil, it is very less. It cannot retain moisture, as red soil also could not retain moisture, and it is acidic in nature. These are its negative points, and is deficient in nitrogen and lime. If you see, I have not written anything which is positive here, because the soil does not have any positive property of its own. It just has to have fertilizers added to it for it to become suitable for any kind of cultivation. Then the region where it is found is the summits of Western Ghats. What do I mean by summits? Summits means mostly on the top of the Western Ghats and the Malwa Plateau. And the states where it can be found is Goa, Assam and Meghalaya, very close to the Brahmaputra basin. And the crops which can be grown in this soil is cashew nuts and tapioca. So this is the last soil which we have in our syllabus. Though in your book there are other soils also given from page 47. Desert soil, marshy soil and mountain soil. These are not in your syllabus. You can cut them out completely from here. Page 47 till the last of this chapter. The entire chapter is not in your syllabus, so you can cut it out. The only one topic left of this chapter which I need to teach you is soil erosion, which we will take further later, and therefore then we will be able to finish the chapter. So I hope you watch the video and are able to understand. We'll be having a Zoom session very soon, and as soon as we have a Zoom session, we'll be able to discuss all our problems at that time then. Bye-bye.